Now you're unmuted. There you go.
Hold on, looking for my
Okay,
voting.
here we go, round 3. Welcome to our Parks and Environment meeting, everybody. We have 4 items on our agenda tonight, and we're going to begin by doing what we always do, and that is adopting the agenda. So if I could please have a show of hands for that.
Here.
Great, thank you. Okay, and first on our agenda is presentation by the Central Park Conservancy on the Conservancy water basin and Kerbs boathouse restoration. And I think Daria, you're going to handle that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi there, this is Diane from the Central Park Conservancy. Oh, I just see you promoted Nick and Sandy. Thank you so much.
Yes. Do I need to promote Harriet and is Bob joining too, or?
You can promote them. Would be good if there's any questions that they can help answer.
Okay, perfect. I promoted Harriet and I don't see Bob on here. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Great. Okay, I'm gonna kick us off because I know you have a full agenda. So thank you for having us. It's nice to see everyone. My name is Sandy Huber. I'm the Senior Vice President for Capital Projects at the Central Park Conservancy. Joined by a few of my colleagues here tonight. And Diane Jackier will be presenting, as well as Nick Coster on our project for the Conservatory water, boathouse, basin, and landscape. So I think Diane is going to share her screen. Yep, she's doing that now with slides. Just wait a moment for them to come up. Okay, great. Go to the next slide. The next slide is just a location map. I'm sure everyone is aware the area of the park that we're talking about, but it's located at East 72nd Street, just off of 5th Avenue. And it's a program of work that's really comprised of the 3 projects that I just mentioned, the boathouse, basin, and landscape. If we go to the next slide, it's a large project. And so tonight, we're going to be presenting the areas that you see in the dotted red line, and it includes that portion of the landscape that you see. And if you go to the next slide, we'll be coming back to you in the near future with the remaining landscape that you see in that red space as well for review of our upcoming plans. So more to come. And then the next slide, just as we do with all of our projects, we have 3 goals. First is rehabilitation, restoring the building and the basin and the landscape in a manner that's consistent with the historic park. Access for all, accessibility. Currently, this area is not accessible. So Nick's going to be talking about how we are creating accessibility with the paths through this area, which also will then allow for people to access the program of the boating and also the restrooms and the concession space. And then finally, environmental stewardship with our work within the building and the upgrades that we're going to be making, and then the surrounding landscape. So I'm going to turn it over to Diane, who's going to just take everyone through a few slides on the history of the area. Diane?
Thank you, Sandy. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you. I'm Diane Jackier from the Central Park Conservancy, and I just wanted to quickly go over the history of this really incredible area in Central Park. So just to show you what the park looked like in 1873, just after Olmsted and Vaux had designed and built Central Park, Conservatory water is a reflecting pool that was actually built for a proposed glass conservatory that was never built. So that is that red outline here. And they even went so far as designed what that conservatory was going to look like. But luckily, the basin was built. And so almost from its initial construction, Conservatory water has been a really popular model boating location. The sport had gained popularity in London and Paris in the 1830s and came to New York both at Central Park and in Prospect Park. And you can see just how popular it was. We have some really great photos showing all of these boats and all of these folks here for so many decades enjoying this area. But since it's, the boats were so big, there really was not They built this small boathouse. It was built, we think, around 1908 to store the boats because they were too big to carry back and forth. And we don't know the actual occurrence, but it burned down sometime in the late 1940s or early 1950s. And so there was a master plan established for this area of the park focused on water and children's recreation. And so what happened was there was a new larger boathouse that was designed, a small concession kiosk, and two sculptures, being Alice in Wonderland and Hans Christian Andersen. Much of the work was funded by donors solicited by Robert Moses. And so one of those donors was Jean Kerbs. She's seen here on the dais. This is the dedication for the Kerbs Boathouse in 1954. There's Jean Kerbs and there's Robert Moses next to her. Jean Kerbs had donated the money in memory of her parents who lived on Fifth Avenue and 74th Street. They loved watching the boats on the Conservatory water pond from their window in their apartment. And so this new, bigger building, when it was constructed, had the model boathouse area in the central part of the building. The restrooms were on the southern part of the building, and the northern part of the building was where the concession space was. And so today the boathouse remains, and its surrounding area remains, an incredibly popular area for model boating, sitting outside at the concession space. Excuse me. And of course, Hans Christian Andersen and Alice in Wonderland are great attractions for so many people. So I'm going to hand it over to Nick to go through more details of what we're proposing.
Okay, great. Thanks, Diane. So this is a view of what it looks like today. If we go to the next slide, we are going to be using the plan rotated at this orientation. So Fifth Avenue is at the bottom of the screen, and we'll be using this orientation throughout the presentation. So, you know, the basin itself is really the heart of this area. The rest of it is largely parkland, so lawns with a nice shaded canopy over it. Next, we're going to be breaking the presentation down into the three components of the project, and we're going to start with conservatory water. So the boat basin itself, it's not in great shape. This is a photo of it drained in winter. The basin bottom is cracked. It's leaking in quite a few locations, so we have a hard time keeping water in it. Next. The basin itself, we found this interesting. It's made up of three different wall vintages. There's the older concrete, or excuse me, masonry block wall, which we believe to be the original. There's an early 20th century concrete that was done in the 20s. And then there's some areas that had fallen into disrepair that the Central Park Conservancy had replaced around 2000. And that's the time when the granite coping that you see today was installed. Next. This is a plan showing you where those three different wall vintages are located. So as part of the restoration of the basin, the walls from the 1920s, those older concrete walls in the basin bottom, will be being removed and restored, as well as the addition of waterproofing. Oh, you go to the next one. Thank you. The views around it, just to key in this area and how it's used today. So, you know, you're aware of the boating from the history part of the presentation. The path is quite wide. There are benches as well as light fixtures that make up the site furnishings. Next. This is a good view on the left that illustrates the water levels of the boat basin. So it's hard for with the leaks that currently exist, it's hard to actually keep the water level up to the bottom of the coping, and that's sort of the water level that it would need to be for the boats to really catch the wind and sail. So right now we're unable to hold water at the level that it should be at. Next. So the area that will be part of this project that we're coming to you for today that will be replaced and restored around the basin is the area that's highlighted with this dashed line. Next. So within that scope of work, we're going to be upgrading the benches, replacing the light poles. We're going to be changing the spacing a little bit, and that is to get better spacing of the lighting for better night lighting within the area. It'll also be able to provide companion seating for wheelchairs and strollers to make sure that we have ample seating options for everyone. Next. So now I'm going to talk about the landscape improvements around. This is a view coming from the north heading south down to the boathouse. This is just the general character of that space. Next. So the area of landscape that will be constructed as part of this, the first work that we're coming to for today is the area that again is highlighted in green. That'll be some planting and lawn restoration, as well as some upgrades to accessibility, as Sandy mentioned. And now the four markers that you see on here, we're going to show you what those existing paths are like. So coming in off of Fifth Avenue, this is the approach here. It's a path that's just a little bit steeper than an accessible grade. And then moving down photo 2, this is, again, there's some areas that are sort of out of code compliance here. So this will be getting reconstructed with ADA accessible pathwork. Next. However, coming from 72nd Street, here we have quite steep slopes. There are also some very large mature trees in this area. So the paths in this area are too steep or have steps to add so that we're not able to add ramps in this location. Next. So this is a plan showing you how we'll be creating accessibility down to the boat basin and conservatory water. So the areas in purple are areas where we'll have ramps and landings. The area in blue is the fully accessible path. And then just off the screen, you're seeing that there's some blue and purple that's shaded out. There will be also additional accessible paths that will be coming back to you with at a later date. Next. This is a view of what that accessible path will look like. This one was just done last year for the Delacorte Public Theater and Restroom to create accessibility to those programs. It's a detail that we've used throughout the park and in many of the accessibility improvement projects that the Conservancy has done. Next. There are also drinking fountains that are part of the program here. There are currently 4 located throughout the project. We'll be upgrading those to accessible water fountains and also proposing a new water fountain near the East 72nd Street entrance, just off the Fifth Avenue entrance. Next. Okay, so now to talk about the design for the boathouse and terrace. This is a more zoomed in view showing the existing boathouse and terrace. Next. We're zooming into the plan to show you what that terrace looks like. There are, around the terrace, there are some more formal planting beds. The terrace is bluestone. There are some benches that are on the terrace that allow people to look out at the water. It's also very popular for the concession. They have movable seating that occupies a large part of the terrace. There's also a sandbox that was part of the original design. So the historic building sits at the axis of the center of the boathouse. And then as you'll see in the photographs, there have been some ad hoc additions that have happened over time for the concession space that will be cleaned up as part of this project. Next. So the building itself, the building has not had a large capital upgrade since it was built. The beautiful photograph that Diane shared of the dedication. We've done a full conditions assessment and a schematic design for it. Good news is that the copper roof is in decent shape, so that's something that we're going to be able to clean up and restore with just some minor work to it. Next. The brick and the stone, there are, for the age of the building, just general wear and tear. We have some bricks that are out of place that will be getting fixed. The non-historic window grates that were added at some time, those will be removed, and the brick cracks and holes will be restored, and any cracks that are showing up in the image on the right to the granite will be restored as part of the project as well. Next. This is what it looks like inside of the central boating room. So this space is shared by both the Model Yacht Club, which has been there for quite a long time, as well as a concession space, Rock the Boat, and they're renting out the sailboats to anyone in the park who would like to use them and sail in the basin. Next. This is the current boiler room. So the building is currently using an oil-fired boiler. That's something that we'll be removing and upgrading to an all-electric system as part of this reconstruction project. Next. The bathrooms, they have had some updates over time, but they are not accessible, and they're rather on the small side for the use that this area of the park gets. Next. This is the back of the building. So this is the space that I mentioned that was the sort of the ad hoc additions. So there is storage space. There is a walk-in cooler, as there's not enough space within the building. So we really see this project as an opportunity to clean this up and bring all of this outdoor equipment into the building. Next. And then the terrace. The terrace, the bluestone is in bad shape. It's falling, it's cracked in locations. The sandbox is not accessible, and the wall that surrounds the terrace is in need of repair and restoration. Next. So now to talk about the programs and how we'll be addressing that as part of the project. So the model boat room, which we shared the photos of, that occupies the center of the building, really the anchor of the space. The restrooms, the women's and the men's, they're on opposite sides of the building. The concession space is sort of a warren of rooms plus those additions, not really appropriate for modern equipment, nor is accessible for the staff that work within the space. We saw the boiler room and the storage room really as an opportunity to rethink this plan. So with the removal of those and the switching of to the all-electric system, how would that free up the plan for us to reconfigure the building to create something that would better serve the needs of the park users? So next. What we're proposing as part of the design is that we would be doing two modest additions to the back of the building that will be recessed into the landscape and the site, very appropriately scaled for this building, sort of set back. The concession space would be able to be expanded by moving the men's room to the other side. That would allow for all of the storage as well as the cooler space all to be moved inside of the building. And what we're doing with the restrooms is by removing the boiler room, we're able to expand the women's room. So we're doubling the fixture count for that space. We'll be doubling the fixture count overall. So with the addition of the men's room on this side, we also have enough space to add a family room or all gender restroom. So really being able to accommodate a lot of needs of park users on the side or within the park with the updates to this restroom. Next. Moving back to the site plan, how this sort of fits into the site. So we'll be restoring the terrace, as I mentioned. We'll be upgrading the benches. We're going to be reconfiguring the sandbox to make it an accessible feature, as well as something that's round, so just more conducive to strollers and people walking around it. The planters will be reconfigured. They're more in line with what historically was here. They had been changed and modified over time. The flat roofs, so for the existing two flat roofs, as well as the new roofs on the two additions, we're proposing green roofs for those. So that really won for the sustainable benefits that they'll provide for slowing down water, keeping heat in the building in the winter, but also visually, right? So this building is very visible from Fifth Avenue. It's sort of set down into the sunken landscape. So the green roof it will really create a beautiful view from Fifth Avenue into this area. of the park. Next. So this project and its importance. This is a map showing the 20 restrooms of Central Park. All of the ones that are noted in blue, those are ones that either the Parks Department or the Central Park Conservancy has upgraded to make accessible over the years. So there still are 7 restrooms that need accessible upgrades to occur. And as you can see from this plan, the area, in this area of the park, there are 4. So by making the conservatory water restroom accessible, this will really be addressing a need for this area of the park. Next. And so what it looks like, this is a rendering of what the building will look like in its setting. So the building will be fully restored. We'll be replacing the windows with historic windows that will match the original design. The original front door that's still there, we're going to be able to salvage that and restore it. The windows for the restrooms, those will not be vision glass, so that'll be a frosted glass, so you won't be able to see in, but they'll be inviting with light being able to spill out. We'll be doing the addition in brick. It'll be a very similar brick to the brick that is used, just a slightly different pattern to illustrate that it's a new addition. There's a green awning that's meant to be sort of an ode to the copper material that will say restrooms, really to bring everyone to this location, as this is one of the key uses for the space. The planting that will all be refreshed as part of this project. So really thinking about cleaning that up and refreshing and restoring the planting beds. Next. So landing here on the plan, that's the end of the presentation. So we look forward to hearing your questions or any comments that you might have.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane, Sandy, Nick. This was an amazing presentation. It's very exciting that you guys are going to be able to basically upgrade and restore this. It's such a beloved part of the park. So we are going to take questions and comments. I want to see if there's anybody online or in person who may have questions, particularly from the public. And then we'll get our committee members last after that. So we have some couple of questions. Is there anyone online? Yeah. Henry, you have been unmuted.
Hello?
You can speak. Hi.
Hi. Sorry, this is not exactly related to the topic, but me and my friend, we've actually started a project of our own, and we're wondering if we could talk at the end or whenever we have time about our proposal.
This or here?
You have to schedule it with our board office, maybe our June meeting, please.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we need to
Okay.
put it, we'll put it on the agenda, but we need to kind of contact us through the office.
Okay, no
So-
problem. Thank you for the clarification.
Sure, of
Okay,
course.
thanks.
Is there anybody else online? Okay, how about here? Any questions or comments? Yeah, let's go around. Let's
I think it's spectacular. I was just there last weekend, by the way. And my only question is, when do you anticipate starting and when do you anticipate completing the project? Timeline.
Sure, I can answer that. We're planning, we know obviously this is a very beloved area of the park. So we're being very conscientious and thoughtful as to how long this is kind of offline. So we're going to be starting on the Basin. Our target is this fall. And so while we start the Basin, the restrooms and the concession can still remain open to the public. And then early next year, the boathouse will go into construction. And so then this area that you saw in my kind of opening slide with the red dashed line, that'll all then be closed off to the public. And we're planning to have this area closed for the 2027 season and then reopen sometime in late spring, early summer for the 2028 season.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
You bet.
I just want to compliment you on your wonderful plans to improve our beautiful park, which is our treasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
It really is a wonderful plan. I just have a few questions which may indicate that I have difficulty thinking about some of the changes. What about near the building? There's a kind of a pool or something with, and you were to show children in that if you get back, there we are.
That's the
And that
sandbox.
part of it.
Sandbox.
Yeah, just is it a sandbox? I couldn't quite
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
in the illustration. I just thought, is there gonna be a pool for kids
Yeah.
right there? Okay, thanks. The other is mostly me trying to understand when you, I think earlier on in the terrific presentation, when you showed a lot of material that was outside, you know, different things, and you said that you're going to be able to redo and get all that material into this here. And so I just,
Yeah.
I was quickly looking at, of course, what is a needed mess, an essential things that is outdoors. And I just asking, is it, when you said all of this can go inside in some way or a different way, I'm not quite clear what will all be going in. You don't have to say all of it, but I just wanted to know that if you do change it, it opens up that area that you showed. And then I thought, where does all of that needed material go inside? And that was just a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're more than doubling the space that the concession has inside. Right now, it's pretty inefficient. And so the only thing that, yeah, so we'll be in conversations with the Parks Department about this, but the goal is that it's really everything would be inside the building, and then they would obviously have sort of their waste and recycling that would have a neat and tidy spot, you know, right there, but it would be, you know, out of view from the public. But that is the goal of this project, is to really clean that up and make it a contained building.
So all the thing that makes the building run, and some of it all will be going inside, that you'll be able to do that and maximize what you will have outdoors. Okay, am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I see it. Thank you. That's terrific. One minor question. The name of, on the right here, there was a named, it should be the outside. Who was the person? I think James somebody. I wanted to know.
That's
Who was
somebody
that?
who wants to speak next.
I'm sorry?
Somebody who wants to speak.
Oh, I'm
there-
sorry. That was my last quick question.
yeah.
I didn't have a lot. It was just that.
Were you talking about Jean Kerbs? She's
Yeah.
the woman who
The
is the
one
donor for the
about
initial building.
James somebody, is it?
Jean
The playground.
Kerbs.
Jane, okay, thank you.
I think you were referring to the playground that's off
Yeah.
to the right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. James, if you have a question, you have been unmuted. You can go ahead and talk.
I don't know if you can hear. I don't really have a question, but I'm going to be presenting for the DEP. So I just, at the time, I know we have a few presentations to go, but at the time, I just need to be able to talk or let you know that, you know, have access to be able to talk.
Just stand by.
Yeah, we'll promote you to panelist. If you accept it, you'll be able to join.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Any other people from the committee with a question? Okay, I had a question and I have a comment. Question is, how are you funding this project? Is it funded by, well, who's funding it?
It's a mix of both private and public funding, city funding.
Okay, I know my comment was just that, I love this presentation. When my kids were little, we had a model sailboat. We were there all the time sailing it. And it's sad that it can't be used right now, but I'm so happy that it will be.
soon.
That's great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just had a few questions. If you could go back to the schematic that shows the outline of the boathouse. It looks like you moved a lot of the, equipment inside. What, and there's a lot of empty space there. What is that currently being used for? If it's, the concern is if you start moving things back out again, because it looks like the only thing attached to it is the utility room.
Which
Right
area?
on the
The
left.
area of the wire mesh fence?
Yes,
Mhm.
the blank space there,
Yes.
yes.
Mhm.
Yep. So if we go to the rendered site plan, Diane, we can talk through that. So in order to not have the split systems on the roof for the heating and cooling, you can see this gray box here that's a dashed line. So we're going to be locating the equipment in this area. The rest of it, the plan is for it to be planting. We haven't fully developed it yet, but it'll be planted with a gravel edge around it. We need to be able to make sure that we can create access to the green roof for maintenance. So that will be only accessible to either Central Park Conservancy or New York City Parks through the utility room.
Gotcha. And the other question I had was that you were talking about the green roof. It looks amazing. I was hope you can describe it a little bit more because I saw a quick picture of it and you said it was helpful. It
Yeah.
was really, yeah. So like for
Yeah,
drainage
so
and stuff.
it shouldn't be, it'll be, the idea is that from this view, it really won't be visible. We've sort of exaggerated it here to prove the point, but where it will be visible, and you'll really get to see the beauty of it is from the wall on Fifth Avenue. So, as you're walking on Fifth Avenue, looking down, that especially in the fall, winter, I think it'll be a really quite a beautiful view to look at it. We're looking at doing, it'll be largely sedums. It's an extensive green roof, so it's a thin assembly, but then we're also looking at using some native plants to make sure that there's seasonal interest throughout the year.
Perfect. And the last question I had was, I just wanted to make sure that the statues, the Hans Christian Andersen and the Alice in
Wonderland.
Wonderland sculpture, I
Yeah.
think, those were still going to be accessible while you guys are working on the boathouse and the basin. Those are,
The Alice in Wonderland, yes, will be accessible. We're still working on our site logistics, but Hans Christian Andersen might be part of the laydown area for the boat basin.
got it. Okay, great. I think that's all the questions I had. I thought that I was telling Barbara about this, like when I saw the presentation, I was very excited. I thought you did a fantastic job of keeping it, being very sensitive and very historically accurate. It's just been, so it was a pleasure to look through. So I texted, I was just like, this is great, I love it. So usually we have concerns, but this one seems to, you hit it out of the park on this one, so thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
You are looking for a resolution,
Correct.
and then when are you meeting with LPC?
We're going on June 23rd.
June 23rd, okay. So we have drafted hold on, pull this up.
You can
Share.
Gonna put it all.
Yeah, I'm gonna share it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna share the wording related to the resolution for our committee members
You guys, are great.
and the wording.
You guys are so prepared.
Oh, yeah, don't jinx me. Like,
Fabulous.
there it is, there it is. I got it. Okay, so for our committee members, here is the therefore be it resolved clause. And essentially, we say that the Community Board 7 Manhattan enthusiastically approves the Central Park Conservancy's plan as presented for the restoration of the Conservatory water basin, the accessible path work, the Kerbs boathouse, community boathouse terrace and related landscape improvements. Be it further resolved that Community Board 7 Manhattan commends the Central Park Conservancy for a thoughtful, historically sensitive, community-minded plan that will restore a beloved Central Park destination, improve accessibility, modernize public restrooms and building systems, support model boating and concession operations, and enhance the long-term function and appearance of the area. So this is the there be it resolved clause that we'll be voting on. So can I get a motion to? Okay. All in favor? Perfect, thank you.
You love the presentation.
Oh, I know, we're all like.
And Lottie.
No questions.
Can we see it again? It was so good.
So much fun.
And then Lottie, one online. Is there anybody online who is a community member or community board member?
I'm gonna bring this into the board before she brings.
All right, good.
Plus the
Thank you.
kids.
All right, congratulations. The,
Thank
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
for the
Thank you.
presentation. We appreciate it. Again, it was a very thoughtful design, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Great.
Bye.
Where have you? Was it good?
Yeah, our next presentation is by New York City World Cup Operations from the Office of the Mayor. And is Ellen Canfield here?
She is,
There
she's
she
been
is.
promoted and she's.
Oh, good, okay, hi, Ellen. We had a call, but I didn't make it onto the call because I couldn't get into
Microsoft Teams.
Microsoft Teams.
Oh, who
right.
hates Microsoft Teams?
So, nice to see you.
All does, yeah.
Okay, why don't you just take it away and tell us everything?
Thank you so much, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Because I have to, okay, good. My background noise is working great. I'm actually in New Jersey at the moment. Looks like I'm on vacation. Except we're out here for some meetings with our host committee. We make them come to us for 95% of the meetings, but it is the New York, New Jersey host committee. So thank you so much, Daria and Barbara and CB7 for having me. Ellen Canfield, I'm serving in this role as the Executive Director of New York City World Cup Operations. And what that means is I'm within the mayor's office, and I'm really focused on what's happening for the World Cup within the 5 boroughs. So we're a small team led by our World Cup czar, Maya Honda. And we work closely with the host committee, with New York City Tourism and some of our other, like those are really the big 3 of us working are New York City Tourism and the New York, New Jersey World Cup Committee. And then we're working closely with them on all things. Just to give a quick sort of bird's eye view on the World Cup. So as I mentioned, those are the entities. There's a really significant swath of agencies working on all of the coordination around the matches themselves, transportation, and a lot of information about that will be rolling out soon. As I said, I'm really focused on the 5 boroughs and the mayor's vision that the World Cup is, first of all, safe for all attendees, all tourists, and all New Yorkers, and that especially for New Yorkers, the impact on day-to-day life is as minimal as possible, but that it's fun, that this is a moment of celebrating the city, of celebrating all of our neighborhoods, all 5 boroughs, all of the incredible communities that make New York everything it is. I've been saying this throughout, but we are, as far as I know, the only city certainly in this World Cup where for every single match, we will have a huge fan base celebrating each team. So, if you can see a map of where different neighborhoods are lighting up, we just know it's going to be a fun time and a celebration for all New Yorkers. So one of the mayor's other priorities is that the World Cup is accessible for New Yorkers. So I'm sure even if you are not a sports fan, you've seen a lot of the headlines around the ticket prices for the World Cup. And we know that those matches are not accessible for everyone. Those are part of a much larger narrative about FIFA, and we're certainly not something that we control. But what we can control is trying to funnel as much of those resources, in particular from FIFA, into creating full opportunities for New York. So that is where this project was born, specifically with the president of FIFA and the mayor talking about what they could do that would be really leaving a legacy. in New York, and not just one blip for the World Cup. And that is a project to install 14 permanent mini pitches. If you, like me, had to learn, pitch is just what the soccer field is called. So it's not a soccer field, it's a soccer pitch. And there really are not a lot of soccer spaces in the city compared to the desire and need for them. So talk to anyone in the Parks Department who works on permits, anyone who's in the soccer community. There's already a pretty tight strain on existing soccer fields. And I'm sure that after this summer, that will, be only more true. So the project is 14 permanent mini pitches, but starting with this temporary mini pitch. We didn't get rolling in time to install a brand new pitch before the start of the World Cup. And as you all know, that's a more complicated process of working through, all kinds of different levels of permitting and community work. So this is just a temporary mini pitch, which will be in the parking lot of Tavern on the Green. I can pull up, let's see. Why don't I pause there and share my screen? Uh-oh. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm having to change a setting. Okay, let me see if this works. There we go. Okay. Okay, great. Is everyone seeing the?
Yes, your
This-
screen is
Okay,
shared.
great. So this isn't like the technical specs, and I can follow with those. We're actually anticipating getting quite a bit of this tomorrow, unfortunately, but I can send it to follow. But so you can see the Tavern on the Green parking lot here. It's kind of the perfect size actually for the mini pitch. So this is how it would fit into the space, and you can see a little bit, it's pretty basic. So there's no bleachers, there's not concessions. It truly is just the field itself. And I can follow with any information that folks want in terms of the materials and what that looks like. So I'll just run through some more of the top details, and then I'm happy to answer any questions. It is planned to be operational June 11th through July 19th. So that's the full 39-day window for the World Cup. Install date, it's a pretty quick install. So we're anticipating, David, don't quote me on this, but as late as like June 4th, 5th, the installation starts, and it comes together very quickly. But so that space, it's not something that's like weeks and weeks and weeks of construction. It comes essentially installed, and then all of that material is reused, which is great. The site will be managed by FIFA along with Soccer Streets, a community partner. So that was very important to us, that they work with a community partner who has boots on the ground in New York City. And Soccer Streets is a really incredible organization, actually, that does community soccer all over the city. And Soccer Streets will be programming the pitch for the open hours. So the open hours will just mirror the park's open hours of dawn until dusk. We'll set a parameter there that's a little bit clearer. And for that duration, there will be Soccer Street staff. This is something I will have oversight over, so we'll certainly be out there a lot as well. And the Soccer Street staff will be managing a schedule for the day. So there will be demos, clinics, as well as open play, which is managed in kind of a pickup style. So it's a very kind of distinct to soccer, where folks come in, they play, and then kind of like pool, where like someone stands by to play the winner. That's kind of that open style. And if we're able to manage online reservations, we'll layer that in as well. But so it won't just be kind of sitting there open, it will be managed by Soccer Street. We'll have 24/7 security, private security that FIFA is paying for. That's coordinated, of course, with the Parks Department and NYPD, but we made sure that was part of it. And they will also be doing private or paying for the waste management through sanitation. So waste will not just be, you know, going into the parks work stream. Let's see. Those were really my main things. So let me pause there and answer any questions.
Sure.
Linda, how is this, I'm just curious, I mean, you're going, Steve is going to be dealing with the crowd management, I get that. But you're really about 500 feet from the entrance to Tavern on the Green. How is that going to affect the restaurant and its customers, its patrons?
Yeah, absolutely. That's certainly top of mind. And I've been out there with David and other folks from CPC and Parks Department. There have been some communications with Tavern on the Green, and now that we're getting locked on the install date, we'll continue those. It is maybe on the site map. I want to say when you're there, it does feel a little bit further, and we can certainly think of how we're structuring what that piece looks like to ensure that it's not impeding access to Tavern on the Green. But that's a great question. I will follow up in terms of where just sort of how folks are being directed on this site and where like staff is set up to just make sure that we're pushing that flow away from the entrance to Tavern on the Green as much as possible.
They're gonna have to, because we've had events in that parking lot, by the way, in the past. So I can see, and you're going to have much bigger crowds. So it is going to have some impact on, because the entrance to it is right there too. So it's gonna have some
Absolutely.
on their business.
So I'm a little confused. Are you proposing that the children in the vicinity can have their soccer clubs play on this mini pitch? Or, I mean, these are not the main competitors. The mini pitch is too small for them. I'm also curious as to where the official competitors will be playing.
Great questions. So yes, this is a community activation. So exactly that, inviting soccer clubs to play, youth, also adults, you know, really a whole crew. The matches themselves are taking place at MetLife Stadium in New York, New Jersey. And I believe like practice fields are scheduled primarily at different like colleges and universities in New Jersey that have fields. So there might be some fun surprises where, especially as like teams start getting out of the World Cup, we kind of anticipate that New York is a place that some of them, you know, we'll see. So there might be some, maybe, you know, a surprise moment, and we would coordinate this with PD, but, you know, where some of the soccer players come out for a clinic, something like that. But this really would be targeted at the community. And I would even say like your more serious recreational players in New York, they probably have their full-size fields booked already. So, you know, youth organizations, people who are just getting inspired by the World Cup and wanting to come out and play for fun or do a skills clinic, that kind of thing.
How do they get space? For example, in my building, there are a number of children, 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old. They're very into soccer. That's their goal in life, to be soccer players. So if they wanted to come out and play, how would they arrange it?
Well, I'll make sure that you get the information. So we're anticipating every day there are some just fully open hours. But as we actually have a presentation tomorrow from Soccer Streets on how they're thinking of structuring the day. So I will certainly work with the community board, our community affairs unit, to make sure that the information, especially on how to access it, is really targeted in this community and buildings, et cetera, so that, you know, that youth can really kind of have the opportunity.
Great, I'll tell their parents.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so what's the size of the mini pitch? What are the dimensions?
Let me pull up my,
I mean, is it comparable to or the playing space? Is it comparable to a regular
so it is,
international?
it is not regulation size, so it really is a mini. So I think it's 25, I realize what I have is in meters, 20 meters by 40 meters. So it's like a 5-on-5 style. So that's what is at about. Now I'm not going to try to do my conversion on a Zoom call, but definitely smaller than a
Exclusive.
regulation field. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Lottie, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you for the presentation. I wanted to know, is there going to be accessibility for young people with disabilities, like a special FIFA World Cup for kids kind of thing? You know, for them to participate? Yeah.
Thank you so much for flagging that. And yes, this especially is a site where, because that area is quite accessible compared to some other ones, we want to see what we can do there. So I've been talking to Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities, and I feel confident that we could make sure that there's some special programming there. And if there are any organizations that you want to connect me with along those lines, we'll make sure to do that.
That's Sebastian. Good line. By the way, Sebastian, you have your hand raised. Did you have a question or a comment?
I was wondering if this pitch would be open 24/7, and along with that, would there also be like scheduled events or like former soccer players who won't be playing in the World Cup because they're retired? Would they make appearances there at some point?
Great question. So not 24/7, although stay tuned, because we are hoping to do some other 24/7 fields in the city, but not this one. So it will be closed the dusk till dawn hours that parks are closed. So I think we'll probably land at like 9 p.m. I'll confirm that, but it will be closed overnight. There will be security on site, but this one will only be open daytime hours. There will certainly be some events, so demos, clinics. Again, I'll send Daria and Barbara this information when it's locked in, and would anticipate, yes, that we'll have some players. I'm always careful about anybody's celebrity level, but I think most of the soccer players are not sort of your recognizable on the street celebrity, but would be very exciting to the community. So we anticipate some of that as well.
10 meters is 32 feet.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. I'm gonna ask. Yeah, the first is for the Tavern on the Green parking lot. Do you know what's been displaced there? Is it primarily parking, anything else, and where that displaced activity is gonna take place? If it's not gonna be there, do you know if it's just like essentially used only by customers or for loading purposes? How is it going to, what's been displaced? How are they gonna be able to access that area?
David.
Yeah, I can weigh in on that. It's Dave Saltonstall from the Central Park Conservancy. Hi, everybody. The parking lot is really almost entirely empty on a day-to-day basis. It serves one incredibly important function for about a week a year, which is sort of a touchdown space during the marathon for all kinds of logistical operations that are attended to. You know, the finish line is like right there. So it becomes a very important space then, but otherwise it's really just a remnant of when there were a lot more cars in the park and people were parking there. And, you know, in that sense, it's the perfect spot. You know, you're really not displacing anything that's going on right now.
Perfect, thank you. And you said, Ellen, that you currently don't have the times for when it'll be open, like from morning to evening or any of those. You have an idea? Is it only during like school hours? Can it be how late in the evening? Is there
Just sort of
lighting?
just the parks, there's not lighting, so just the parks hours of dawn till dusk. But what I meant is I'll confirm, it won't be just called dawn till dusk. It'll be whatever,
Right.
Probably till 9 p.m. So that's what I'll confirm.
Thank you.
But the idea is all hours that the park is open.
I had a question also. You mentioned the 14 mini pitches that will be your legacy when you've departed. Can you talk about that at all? or is that information to come?
That is information to come on the locations, and that will be something that is, staying with folks too who are definitely on, longer term. There's actually there's an additional project with New York City Football Club. They're doing 14 mini pitches at schools. So it's still a question of if these are going to be focused on parks or schools. But I'll certainly make sure that information is shared as well as we have it.
And my last question is, are you planning to come back to our committee in next month, which will be our last month before our summer break, to give us another update on any further plans?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So we will put that down on our agenda. Thank you.
Great.
Well, Linda.
One quick question, is there a website that we can steer people towards now?
Yes, not up yet, but when I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think of when we're tracking for the announcement. As soon as it's announced, there will be a website as well, which I'll share.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Well, anybody else? If you would just keep in touch with us, Ellen, that would be fantastic this month.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Will
Thank you
do.
so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thanks for having me, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You'll move to it. I can get that one, huh?
Interesting.
Our last presentation is from the Department of Environmental Protection regarding Central Park Reservoir Rehabilitation. We have a few folks joining us from DEP. We have, I believe, Humberto. We also have Galarza. We have Martin. We also have James and Amanda. So you guys can go ahead and take it away. I don't know if you have a presentation you need to share. But here you go.
Hi, first of all, this is Humberto Galarza from New York City Department of Environmental Protection. Thank you so much. You guys have been very, very accommodating, very sweet. We appreciate your time you're giving us. And if you could please promote Marty, who has the number starting with 934. This is our DEP Manhattan Borough Commissioner, Marty Fatu. He'd like to say a few words before we start. Really appreciate that.
Marty, you are permitted to talk. It looks like your phone is muted.
There we
you go.
Hi, hello, good evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Humberto, and to the chair. My name is Marty Fatu. I'm the Manhattan Borough Commissioner, as well as the acting Brooklyn Borough Commissioner for the New York City Department of Environmental Protection. Apologies as I'm going to be calling in and we'll have to drop to another meeting in a few minutes, but I just wanted to thank you all for taking the time to hear from our team. Amanda and her team from the Bureau of Engineering, Design and Construction, we call them BEDC, have been spearheading this project, have been doing a ton of public engagement, community engagement, and we are very close to moving forward here with a much needed restoration. And I do think you'll get a lot out of the presentation tonight. Before I turn it over to the team, I just wanted to provide a quick update that our 2025 drinking water report is now out. You can see everything that is included in your drinking water, and some of the testing that we've done is included in the report that's online. Humberto can send that over to you guys. Additionally, we will be coming back to your district managers in a little bit on our water rate increase for this year. The Commissioner, Lisa Garcia, will be moving forward with a request to the Water Board for a slight increase, very slight, and that allows us to continue to deliver for everyday New Yorkers and to, bring on huge infrastructure improvements to the system. So with that, I will turn it over to Humberto and Amanda. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Martin.
Hi again. So we have James here and Amanda from our Betsy Engineering, Design and Construction Bureau. James, you let me know if you're okay to go, if you would like me to start. It's up to you.
Okay, and I mean, you want to go to the next slide, Amanda, Umberto? I think you, if the,
Sure.
just
Okay,
this,
so our mission here at DEP is to enrich the environment, protect public health for all New Yorkers by providing high quality drinking water, managing wastewater, stormwater, reducing air and noise, and hazardous material pollution. Next slide, please. Just a little bit about Central Park Reservoir, which I know you guys are all very knowledgeable and well aware of. The Central Park Reservoir and its facilities was constructed between 1858 and 1862 to store and provide potable water to Manhattan. The reservoir was decommissioned in 1993, but it was still owned and operated by DEP, regulated by the State Department of Environmental Conservation, DEC. This project will rehabilitate the reservoir to meet DEC's dam safety regulations. We'll explain that later, including the safe and reliable means of emergency drawdown. It sounds a little scary, but again, we'll explain that a little bit later. This project is a faithful restoration of the reservoir and the 3 gatehouses, which I'm pretty sure you've all seen. They're beautiful. Every time I go to Central Park, people are hovering. I believe there's some organizations that do presentations near the gatehouses. It's just a beautiful sight that we have here in Central Park with this reservoir, and I'll kick it over to James.
thank you, Umberto. As Umberto said, I'm James Carlisi. I'm the accountable manager for the DEP on this project. And this slide shows the location where we'll be working. You can see gatehouse 1 and 2 on the north side of the reservoir, 1 and 2, and then gatehouse 3 on the south side of the reservoir. And then we'll be working around the perimeter of the reservoir, cleaning vegetation and repairing the wall, the wall of the reservoir, the dam wall, and then we'll be working on the dividing wall, which is in the middle of the reservoir, down the middle, which is connected it goes from gatehouse 1 to gatehouse 3. You can kind of see it there. It's that dark line. Usually it's underwater, so it's more like a shadow you can see in that picture. We have another picture of it later on. You'll be able to see it better. But that also be some restoration to that wall, some repair, and some grouting and removal of any vegetation there that's causing it to crack. To the next one. This is a picture of the roots and trees and vegetations that is growing, and that can create seepage paths into the embankment, damaging the dam. The project will remove the tree stumps and root systems from the embankment of the reservoir and repair the stone and grout. The water level will be temporarily lowered 5 feet to perform the restoration work. On the right, and kind of the far right picture is a dividing wall. When the water's lowered, you can see it. That will be grouted and repaired. You can see there's some missing stones and that kind of thing, which we'll have to repair and regrout to bring the wall back to the condition it was previously. There's a picture of the wall. It 1904. Some of the historic pictures. This is what the current condition where the vegetation has grown, and like I said, the roots can cause seepage paths and damage. It's an earthen embankment, so the roots can cause damage. So we'd like it to look like the future condition, but it's basically similar to the original condition, as you see in a rendering on the far side. The gatehouse is a picture of the gatehouse, which the gatehouse is although the gatehouses control the flow of water in and out of the reservoir. Although the reservoir is decommissioned as a drinking water source, must remain operational for safety reasons. So the project will update the mechanism systems. Basically, their gates that you can raise and lower to allow the water to flow out of the gatehouse into the distribution system or into the drainage system, the sewer system. They will provide a comprehensive restoration of the historic architecture as well. So like the windows, the doors. I think we'll have pictures later. You'll see. And the project will also seal the decommissioned underground water mains. We don't need all the water mains any longer. So not really. We only need we can do the drawdown and any refreshing of the reservoir with fewer water mains. So we're gonna fill the ones that we don't need with concrete and to seal them off, and so they're not a source of water leakage. These are the current site conditions at Gatehouse 1. The door at Gatehouse 1 is a wooden door with some metal fasteners, so that door will be brought back to the historic condition. And the windows, you can see the windows are basically blocked up now, but they'll be brought back to the original condition as well. And they have pictures of it. And maybe the next, yeah, you can see the windows will have the panes. They won't be operable, but they'll be similar to the original the picture from 1909 on the left. We'll try to recreate the windows as they were then. Um, this is the details of the proposed work for the door. You can see the kind of the metal fasteners. It's actually a wood door. You can kind of tell from that piece that's missing there. We have pictures from about 1909. You can see the 1909 picture there with some markings, and we'll try to bring that door basically as well back to the original condition. You see the future condition on the right. There's a door that goes to the dividing wall at the rear of Gatehouse 1. It's a smaller door that leads out onto to the water basically, and that door also will be brought back to the original condition. There's some old pictures of that door which we'll use to replicate the condition from about 1909 or so when we have the pictures from the area from those doors. This Gatehouse 2. Gatehouse 2 is similar. We'll be working on the doors and the windows to bring it back to the original condition. And there's a small balcony at the back of Gatehouse 2 as well that will be restored. And there's in front of Gatehouse 2, there's a railing, a wrought iron railing that will be rehabilitated and brought back to the original condition, and also raised up to meet the requirements for the safety requirements. It's a little low, about 6 inches low, so the pedestals will be raised up. This again is the details of the proposed work. A picture from around 1909 of the windows and the facade. Right, the present condition, they're boarded up basically and bricked up, so there'll be the boarding and the boards and the brick will be removed, and then you can see we'll bring it back to that original condition with kind of the flower pattern kind of on the top and the window on the kind of double hung window on the bottom. And then yeah, that will be the condition. We'll bring those back to that condition of 1909. This is the work for the railing, and there's a railing on the back as well of the building, and and the front railing by the stairs where you come into the building. There'll be some of them we can use. Some of them have to be replicated. Some of the medallions and some of the pedestals, but we'll try to use what we can and then replicate the ones we need that were broken. This is the Gatehouse 2 front door. It's a different look than the other one. It kind of also has a sort of flower pattern on the top and the metal doors on the bottom. The metal doors have kind of rusted, as you can see, and the flower pattern that was taken out, and there's a panel for ventilation which will be removed, and then the future condition will be similar to the cast iron door will be similar to the condition from the picture from, I think that's 1888. So
Yes.
so the next Gatehouse 3. This is another picture of the balcony that we have from archive drawings. It's an archive drawing of the balcony, the rear elevation, the 1888, depicting the rear door onto the balcony. The rear door at Gatehouse 3, which is deteriorating. It'll be mostly of the original vintage, so extensive formation of the patina and the are not so the rust are damaging it, so it will be restored to its original condition. And like once again, the top piece will be put back to the typical look for Gatehouse 2. The Gatehouse 3, the on the southern part of the reservoir, there's the current condition, and then we'll be working on the windows and doors here as well. You can see the picture from 1909 again, showing the windows and how they looked, and the panels and the current condition right now. Where we've been using it for different there's some antennas that they've used, which will all be relocated. Some of the windows are bricked up as well, so they'll be brought back in the future condition to look similar to the 1909 original pictures that we have. These are some of the details of the proposed work for the main door. That the door will have to be changed. Right now it's broken down into two smaller doors, but that transom will be removed, and it'll be two large doors as it was in originally. We're going to keep the grating there because the grate that's in front of the door. It's just what we use when we go in, because this is a high traffic area, and a lot of people get curious when the doors are open. So it's easier to keep the doors open, but the gate closed. And so and then the gate, you can see all the way on the right that the future has two larger doors similar to the original condition. There's a detail of the proposed work in the back. There's also like a balcony that leads out to the water onto the reservoir. So there's a rear door and a balcony. You can see there's not a very clear picture of the original one. You can see it on the left, but they're going to restore it as best they can from what they know, and so right now it's an older, it's got rust, and it needs a rehabilitation. So they depict the drawing on the right is what it will look like in the future, and they can use to access the dividing wall and the reservoir from the back of the building. This drawing shows the staging areas that we'll use in the park while we're doing the work. There's some staging out front of Gatehouse 1. There'll always be space to jog. There'll at least a 3-foot wide space. So for joggers or people passing by, for that short distance, there'll be about a 3-foot space for people to pass by, at least 3 feet. There'll be some staging on the grassy areas just to the north of Gatehouse 1. And a little bit of a staging area on the work area. There's a work area because there's a pipe gallery where we'll have to remember I was saying that we're going to have to fill some of the old supply lines that are there with concrete. So the supply lines can be reached from under that work area. So they'll go down into that work area and then cut the pipes, and then they'll be able to cap them, and they'll cap them at the gatehouse as well, and then fill them with concrete. So there's no path for the water to go out of the reservoir. This is the same idea, staging area, but at Gatehouse 3. So there's a work area in front of Gatehouse 3, like we were talking about, to work on the doors and the windows and to get into the gatehouse, and that there'll always be a path for the runners to go past, or walkers, about a 3-foot wide path. And there's a work area down below on the bridle path, and there's a staging area that we coordinated with Parks and CPC. And the work area, some idea is to get under to where the pipes are, so that they can fill the pipes with concrete and seal them off. There's also 2 trailers you see on the right. There'll be some trailers along the path that we coordinated with Parks for their location a little bit further north, I guess northeast of the Gatehouse 3. There's a work area at 5th and 74th Street. The DEP requires access to sewer manhole excavation to seal the decommissioned water mains. There's a water main that runs in the area. There'll be a lane closure will be required for like about 3 to 4 day periods, and then the area will be paved and repaired. The anticipated schedule, the active construction period will probably be around spring of 2027. We have a contractor that was awarded, but they're waiting for the contract to be registered. But even so, it takes about 4 or 5 months for them to get out onto the site before they get their approvals. The construction hours will be 7 to 4, Monday to Friday. The primary restrictions there's work within the ball field must begin on or after November 16th. And be completed by the end of February to allow for turf growth and sodding. And then there's also a restriction for working around the perimeter of the reservoir where it has to be done in the winter months, not to disturb any of the birds or that are in the reservoir in the spring and summer. The project cost is about $61 million.
No.
And are there any Umberto, do you want to? This is the DEP's access. Usually.
Yes, thank you, James. Appreciate the presentation. So yeah, as it says, the DEP is here to help. You've heard from our Borough Commissioner, Marty. I'm Umberto with Community Affairs. We're here. We're available to answer any questions, not just about this project. Obviously, moving forward, I'm pretty sure you might get some park goers with some questions or some interest, or the board. But we're here also to help with any issues, any related issues you may have with DEP. The Manhattan DEP at dep.nyc.gov is our general Manhattan DEP email address. It's our email address where it is distributed to management, including myself. And then these
We
are
all
some
get that email. If you send it to us, one of us will respond.
That's correct. Oh, Marty, you're still here. So we're, as Marty said, feel free to use this. Feel free to use my email addresses or Marty. Marty's always available as well. If you have any questions about the project, please let us know. Happy to answer. And I guess to start things off, we have worked with, have had conversations, site visits with Parks Department and the Conservancy, in case that was one of your questions.
No, there's a few people sitting here who do have questions, so if it's okay, I'm gonna call on them now, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. My name is Hayden Brockett, and I'm a member of the Parks and Environment Committee here. Thanks so much for a wonderful presentation. I can tell that there's been a ton of work that has gone into it. I just have a couple questions. Actually, first, how long has this been in the planning process? That was one of my questions. And then about the decommissioning of the water mains, I'm just curious if, from a redundancy perspective, just a little bit more about I'm assuming we're planning never to drink this water again, but if you can is there any more background or thinking about why the decommissioning is a good idea?
Okay. Do you? I can tell you. I mean, the planning. I think the planning started. It might have been like 2019 or something like this. It was 6 or 7 years ago that they were working on it. I think the contract goes back that far, but maybe a little further. But somewhere around there. And yeah, something like that. And then your question about the water, I think the Central Park Reservoir, it might be on the first slide, was decommissioned in 1998. I think under Giuliani, maybe around that time. So 1993. So yeah, so the thing is you can't just bring water, you can't just provide water for, because if it's decommissioned, to recommission it, you'd have to do all kinds of testing with DEC and the health department and that kind of thing. So it would be a very difficult process to put it back into commission. And then yeah, that's so there's no it wouldn't be like feasible to bring it back in a timely manner. And plus it's not a collecting reservoir. it doesn't collect water. I mean, it collects rainwater, but it's not like a typical reservoir. It's a balancing reservoir. So a balancing reservoir is just used for pressure to keep the elevation of the system at a certain level. Like we have, I don't know if you know Hillview Reservoir in Yonkers on the border of New York. That's a balancing reservoir. You know, most of the reservoirs upstate are collecting reservoirs. They have a watershed that leads into the reservoir. But Central Park Reservoir in this case is not a collecting reservoir. It's a balancing reservoir. So it's actually filled with water from the drinking water system. I think it used to be filled with water from the Croton system originally, and I don't know, it might even be on the slide, but it was filled with water from the Croton system originally, and old Croton aqueduct, and so and then it was used to supply water out of that way. So we don't do that anymore. The balancing reservoirs in Yonkers in Hillview, and that sets the pressure for the system. And that's so the reservoir it's filled with drinking water basically. It's not filled with runoff like a typical it's a balancing reservoir, not a receiving reservoir.
That's a
Wonderful. Thank you
great
so much.
question. Sorry, I just want to say
Yeah.
that's a great question because over the years, we've also built our third water tunnel, which is redundant, creates a redundancy with CD tunnel number 1 and 2, which creates more safety net for us to provide to supply water from upstate, as James was alluding to with Croton, Catskills, and Delaware. Sorry, I'll let you continue. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying, thank you so much, James, Umberto, Marty. That's wonderful. It's a great presentation. I'm so glad you guys are doing this. If we have any questions or if I have further questions, I'll reach out directly. Thank you.
Yeah, good question.
First of all, I mean, my first concern had to do with the runners because it's a really active track and I'm glad that you're making accommodations. But my second question I love the design of the gatehouses. I've spent many hours running around that track at these gatehouses. But you're going to put the windows back in, and I'm just wondering, are you worried about them being broken into or anything like that? Because they were not available before, and it looks beautiful. The designs look beautiful, but I just have this feeling, I mean, I can see them being vandalized too. Has that been a concern of yours?
I mean I know they're tinting the windows to avoid just people just looking in and curiously, and I think the windows themselves are made of like a harder type like a resistant type of material. I forget what it's called.
Impact resistant.
Impact resistant. Yeah, so they're trying. I mean, I think they're balancing, trying to make it look like the original, and the hope that people will respect it in a way. That's like but they're making it impact resistant to avoid as much damage as possible if someone does try to damage it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, processing yours.
My question is about gatehouses also. Is there any anticipated use beyond the functional one for the gatehouses? I'm thinking about the two larger ones. They're beautiful buildings.
Yeah. I mean, on our project, for this project, the one we're talking about now, we're basically cleaning them out in a sense, taking out any hazardous materials, the lead, asbestos, anything that's in there, that to clean them out. I mean, after our work is done, after, some of the old electricals are removed, some of the spaces are cleared out. I mean, I've only heard, I know there's plans, but it wouldn't be in this project to offer up like RFPs for future work.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
I have just a couple of questions.
Okay.
You mentioned before that you'll be performing the work to accommodate essentially birds in their migration. Have you touched base with the New York Bird Alliance to kind of talk through the impacts to wildlife? And I'm wondering if there are going to be any changes to the reservoir water level that could impact other wildlife like turtles or fish or anything else?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, we reach out to the Fish and Wildlife. I don't know if the other agency you mentioned, we can check. But I know we reach out to Fish and Wildlife, and then we also so then we we love land more LPC, but Fish and Wildlife for this kind of thing. And then that's where we got the restriction to work in the summer, in the winter months, basically. And the water level reservoir, it's only going to be about 5 feet down. It's almost the level that it's been for the last few months. We just raised it up again back over the dividing wall. But the level that you're seeing with the dividing wall right there, that's about the level it'll be when we're doing our work. It's about 1 foot
Got it.
less than what you're seeing in this picture. It's typically just above the dividing wall, and it's going to, so it doesn't, it's not affecting the fish or the turtles, or it's not significant enough to affect them.
James, you told
Yeah.
me you guys are working sectional within areas.
Oh, we also, that's the other thing too. We're doing it in pieces, it'd be like, say, 200 feet at a time as we go around the reservoir. So, if we're in one area and, we did, I don't, there's not, we're only working on a certain, I don't know if we have that drawing handy, but we have, probably not, but we have like, we're working in pieces basically around, not very large, maybe like, 200 feet at a time. So they'll clear that and then they'll move on. So yeah, that also, gives them plenty of other areas to move to. We're not doing the whole thing all at once, and there'll be no space for any animals.
Got it. Okay, great. That's very helpful to know that it's being worked on in pieces. I would just encourage you to touch base with the New York State Bird Lions. I know the Conservancy and the Parks Department have done in the past when they talk about possibly projects that may possibly affect bird migration. So I would encourage you to do that. The other question I had was, you mentioned that a lot of the work is also to essentially meet dam requirements. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is all the work described today, are they specific to or some of them enhancement work? I'm just trying to figure out what type of work you're doing that's going to be hitting the requirements that are necessary, and what type of work is pure enhancement.
Oh, most
Or
of
they
the
all
work,
Yeah, or
the
dam
work,
safety, right?
the dam safety work relates to the slides we were showing where we're taking the vegetation, we're removing the vegetation from the embankment, from the reservoir embankment. And yeah, so that's, and then the filling of the pipe of the water lines that we're not using anymore. Basically, they're like 48-inch lines. And some smaller lines the filling of the lines that take the water out of the reservoir with concrete to avoid any, if over time, if they crack, or they eventually with time, they'll deteriorate. So the idea is to fill them with concrete and eliminate that path for the water to leave the reservoir. The work that's not related to that would be what the work I was talking about with, like, the doors, the windows, restoring the gatehouses, like that kind of thing. The most of that preservation work, cleaning out the gatehouse, cleaning out the asbestos, the lead, cleaning out the gatehouse 1 and 2, mostly 1 and 2. That kind of work is not related to the dam safety. Dam safety work, doing the railings, the plot, that kind of work. There's some work restoring the sewer lines on both the north and the south side. That relates to the dam safety, because the water has to be drawn down in about 14 days. So to have that capacity, they have to make sure that the sewer lines are in good shape. They're going to be, where there's damage, they're going to be lined. So there's sewer lines that run from gatehouse 3 to the sewer out on basically 74th Street, and outside of gatehouse 1 to the north. So that's the general idea.
Can you tell me how the project is funded, who's funding it, how it's broken up?
I think it's all city funded. I don't, this might have, I don't think this is SRF funded. That state revolving fund is the other funding we would get. Amanda, do you remember off the top of your head, is there SRF funding on this or no?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it's all city funded. It's the bonds,
Thank-
what are the typical water board funding.
So one clarification, I think I heard you say that at no point would the running path be obstructed or closed off. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's the plan, to keep at least that so we don't block the running path, right? There'll be,
That's great.
there'll always be a gap for people to, it's about 3 feet or so for people to get through, to get past. And even that area, the working in the front of the gatehouses is not, it's a piece of the project. So I think they won't be out there, the whole time. So they'll do their work there hopefully and clear that away so they can keep the path open.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah,
Okay.
you see what you see, that's the southernmost gatehouse, right? And that's the one that's the most active, because it's got a lot of space for people to kind of hang out in. And the only thing that I worry about, it's got a really a big slope, a very that's off the path. There's trees and it's a very slippery slope over there. I'm looking for, but it's gonna be.
Well, it's a very well utilized
Yeah,
running,
Really.
walking path, so great that you're keeping it open.
yeah.
Okay, thank you for an interesting presentation.
Right, lovely.
Thank you so
Exciting.
much. Yeah.
Thank
There were
you.
years ago, there was some crazy thing that there was a movement to name the reservoir after Jacqueline Kennedy.
Yeah.
I thought,
Jackie
I thought,
Onassis, yeah.
I was afraid
They
to
did
say
name
that
it.
I was,
Yeah.
that I was hallucinating, but I remember there was
There was
some.
a plaque there. Was
They
there
did
a-
name
We did
They
name it
did
after
name
her.
It's called
I
that.
mean, is this permanent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's.
It
was labeled on
Okay,
one
I
of-
wasn't wrong, but I think.
Yeah.
I used.
It is.
I used to
have them
run
there,
it.
so
I used to
what's-
run it almost every day.
What's
No
the verdict?
disrespect to Jacqueline. We here at DEP, we're just so focus minded.
Yeah, I
It's
got
DEP
you. I got you.
Reservoir. We apologize, but no, that is Jacqueline's,
Well, no,
Jacqueline
but
Onassis.
I was I thought I was hallucinating now as I was listening to you.
You may be
Okay.
hallucinating, but this is, this was not about
Thank
that.
you so much. Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you
in.
all. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
For
Good
joining
night.
us. Thanks. All right, well, you
Good
have a
night.
good day. I think
Good night.
this meeting is adjourned. We're adjourning the
Let me
meeting.
know.
Just adjourned.
Any show business?
We don't have old or new business unless.
No.
Are there,
I don't have
is there
anything.
nothing, no other, but.
No.
Just by the way, I
none.
went in there, this is Alex, she said just leave
I
it
knew
up
that was
there.
Alexis. That's why I told you don't have to.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Here, here.
All right,
Well, that's trusting the world.
meeting's adjourned,
Good to see you,
guys.
sir.
Always. How are you, Linda?
The,
Anybody want a pigeon sign here?
No.
Okay.
What is that?
We have one around the corner on 84th Street.
we should hang one up here in the board office if you don't want them all.